Winter is here for the Rippaverse. That is right. Eric July and his team have launched another successful $1 million project, and I am all here for it. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side. Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Airy. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I've been following Eric July and the launch of the Rippaverse for a long time now. It is always fascinating to me when I see indie creators go from one project to the other. And with Eric July, he went from music to podcasting and entered the world of comic books. He was doing comic book reviews, a bunch of you know, weirdos on social media were saying, well, if you don't like the comic books you're reviewing, how about you make your own? And that's what he did, starting with Isom. Then we had Isom 2. Then we have Alpha Core. And now we are entering winter with Yaira. And by the way, I'm saying that because that's part of the campaign, is they're calling Yaira, they're saying winter is here. So that's why I'm using that. I know we're entering spring now, finally, but I am very excited about this comic book. I was probably the most excited for the Yaira spinoff. We've got a lot more coming. We've got Gooding, we've got Bloodruth, we've got Alpha Core sequel and an Isom sequel, I hope. All of this is in the pipeline. Horseman, of course, but Yaira was the one I was the most excited about. It looks fantastic. The character was introduced in Isom number 1. You saw her in Isom 2, and you got a glimpse of her in Alpha Core. So it's pretty cool to see that this campaign is getting off to a fantastic start. And by that I mean it broke Isom's record. So Isom went into $1 million. I think it went upwards almost 3 million. I don't know if it quite hit 3 million or just barely hit 3 million, something like that. But Yaira actually broke the record. Yaira hit 1 million within 24 hours of its launch, which is fantastic. I am so excited for Eric July and his team, and I am excited about Yaira. So, according to the Rippaverse, Yaira number 1 is set in the Rippaverse, written by the superstar twins of horror, Jen and Sylvia Soska, powerfully penciled by Deborah Carita, with letters by the one and only Eric Weathers. It is going to be 90 pages. That is really ambitious and good for them. So, what is this comic book about? This is the logline again from Rippaverse.com. Whom or what is Yaira? To the citizens of Floorspark, the Alpha Core who protect them from XSEP related threats. XSEP is basically people with powers, just in case you didn't know. Yaira is nothing less than a powerful force of nature unlike anything else they've encountered. In the recent aftermath of a brutal battle that ended in a stalemate, Alpha Corps Commander Brian Solari told Yaira to vacate Floorspark and warned her never return. But Yaira plays by no rules but her own, and now she's back. What does this frosty force want in sunny Floorspark? And what motivated her return? Yara's origins go back farther than anyone can possibly imagine or believe, and sometimes the cost of a primeval past is the haunting of one's presence. When you wield such immeasurable power, your choices can have drastic and long lasting consequences. What happens when Yara's past catches up with her, and those in her orbit are unwittingly forced to pay the price for her actions? I'm sold. I've already bought my copy. They have some really cool variant covers apart from the main one. You are going to be blown away. I'll put all 4 of them up here, and I am just so excited for this. Like I said, I am big into indie comics. I love indie comics. I've been following things like Common America, like Cobalt, like oh my gosh, what's another one, like the She continuation. And I have so far, a few of them have not been blow me away amazing, but they've been far better than what I've been reading from the big comic book industry publishers. And here with Rippaverse, I think it's going to be fun. One of the cool aspects of this is they released a live action trailer, which kind of opens with Isom and then it goes into Yaira. We see glimpses of who she is, where she's coming from. It was pretty cool. It's really neat to see live action being incorporated into the Rippaverse. I think that hopefully we'll see a lot more of this. It really helps when you've got, the writers of Yaira sort of, being movie directors who have done, all kinds of horror films. Now, I haven't seen any of their movies. Horror is just not my genre. It's not my jam. You have to be really good title for me to sit down and watch through a horror film. Sometimes I do it on Halloween. Every Halloween I usually do a theme. Let me know in the comments if you would like me to do some of the Soska sisters movies as part of my Halloween theme. Or if the Soska sisters, if you're watching this, let me know. I would love to do your films as part of my Halloween theme this year. But anyway, there were people who you can just tell have, total butthurt about the Rippaverse. Their jealousy knows no bounds. They want to nitpick and criticize every single thing. I even heard one creator tried to say that Deborah didn't even work on this, that they had to bring in two other artists or one other artist to fix Yaira. Listen, I don't believe a word of it. Now, if they come out and said, hey, yeah, Deborah did do a bunch of art, and we brought in Kanan White and Joe Bennett to help, just to finish it on time. Okay, that's not that big of a deal. For one thing, comic books do that, every day. But also, for the critics, which they're really just detractors, they want to hide behind the name critic because it makes them feel more important, and nothing but egos there. But they want to try to, nitpick every single thing. I saw a guy literally nitpick every scene of the trailer, the live action and the animated trailer, and you're just like, why? It's a trailer. It's not supposed to explain the whole story. It's supposed to tease you and make you want to buy it, which that is exactly what happened to me. Now, I'm not going to name these individual creators because I'm not interested in drama farming like they are, but it's obvious you guys are just, and gals, are just jealous of the Rippaverse. Get your comic books out on time and accomplish. Some of these guys who are criticizing Eric July, their comic books are 2 years late. And they want to say, oh, it's all about quality control. Well, Iconic Comics, Rippaverse, and a bunch of other indie studios, Tales In Studio, as an example, sure, some of their releases might be late, but they give us reasons why. A lot of, people in the indie space, they won't tell you why it's late. So you're just stuck. They don't give you any updates. You're just expected to go along to get along. Some don't offer refunds if you're tired of waiting, which I find that incredibly unethical. Now, all that being said, I am excited about what the Rippaverse is doing. I think it's going along great. I'm excited that, Mike Barron and Chuck Dixon, Joe Bennett, Kanan White. I don't want to pronounce her name incorrectly. That's why I'm looking now. Deborah Carita, the Soska sisters. I'm so excited that everyone is coming together for the Rippaverse. Now, we'll have to wait and see what's next. Rippaverse, they've teased a bunch of other titles that are coming out. We know for sure The Horseman. We know for sure Gooding. And also, they announced that they are doing Rippazine, which is a magazine that has short stories in it, basically an anthology series. I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be cool. They also started Ripascend, which is going to be a distribution for unique creators. So you can go to them and say, hey, will you help me, get my comic book out there and in the hands of my readers and subscribers? I think that's fantastic. Keep up the good work. Let's all work together. Let's stop detracting each other so much. Let's just come together as indie creators and work. Now, I'm not an artist. I can't do a comic book. Hey, if you're an artist out there and you're like, hey, Jacob, I would love to illustrate one of your short stories or one of your novels, fantastic. It's coming down the road. But I hope that we can all come together, work together, let the Iron Age begin, because so much incredible stuff is coming out, not just from the Rippaverse, but from other indie creators, and I am all here for it. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die